like animals who like to bite, tasting all disaster. 20-something seconds go on and on. 20-something seconds go. I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. I know we can do better. I'm not ready for darkness. If we promise to hold on and to never let go, I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. Hey, 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 hey. I'm ready to absorb you, feeding all your triggered lies. My ignorance defines you. The roof is gonna cave in, roaring with some dinosaurs, so caught up in the moment. 20-something seconds go on and on. 20-something seconds go. I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. I know we can do better. I'm not ready for darkness. If we promise to hold on and to never let go, I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. Hey, 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 if we promise to hold on and to never let go, I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for. I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. I know we can do better. I'm not ready for darkness. If we promise to hold on and to never let go, I'm not ready for darkness. I'm not ready for darkness. Hey, 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 hey,
You and I, we are so random. You bring the darkness to the light, split the atom. I ignore the fact that this will never last. Your words come out so soothing that I forget that this thing is confusing. Having such a blast, but don't ask where my head is at. Cause I'm cruising through the rush of us. I don't care about love, just need your touch. Want you to be my vice, vice,
Vice, vice.
I'm all about your vibe, vibe. Me and you got that good, yeah, but I'm running like I'm lost in the woods, yeah. I don't really care, cause I just like it here. Me and you can't get enough, no, you know, acted, but I know this is a bluff, though. Having such a blast, but don't ask where my head is at. Cause I'm cruising through the rush of us. I don't care about love, just need your touch. Want you to be my vice, vice.
Vice, vice.
I'm all about your vibe, vibe. Want you to be my vice, vice.
Vice, vice.
I'm all about your vibe, vibe.
Vice.
Want you to be my vice, vice.
Vice.
hard to keeping up with the Joneses. Everything is kind of trouble and purpose. And you're lying in a bed of roses. I never dreamed of getting in the action. Life moves with all the surprises. I never dared to give a good reaction. It comes down to this, yeah. You're gonna be a tough act to follow, and you better believe it. Just take a bite and see that it's gonna be too much to swallow. You better believe it. Yeah, I got one more trick, but you're gonna be a tough act to follow. To follow. You're gonna be a tough act to follow. To follow. Oh, I feel I like the way I got up from the start. I was under pressure. I feel I got away. It comes down to this, yeah. You're gonna be a tough act to follow, and you better believe it. Just take a bite and see that it's gonna be too much to swallow. You better believe it. Yeah, I got one more trick, but you're gonna be a tough act to follow. To follow. To follow. Yeah, you're gonna be a tough act to follow. To follow. You're gonna be, ooh.
I belong to you.
I belong to you.
Do just what you want. You're the one I trust. And I'll always be around when I need some loving, baby. No one else.
Put you down.
Yo! Whoa, that's the wrong one. Forgot to change that. There we go. That's the right one. Ooh, thought I got everything, but I didn't. It's all right. It's all good. How you doing, Patrick?
I'm alright, man. What about you?
Living the dream. Living the dream, man. I've missed you, man. I was
man.
out. I was out for a little bit. You were out for a
I was
little
out
bit.
for a
We
little
kind of
bit.
crossed being out,
Yeah,
and you went to Panama. I went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the stream. Glad to be back. We were kind of out for 2 weeks. So we did a little bit of vacationing. From a day job perspective, I don't go back to the office till Tuesday. So that's great. But the family went to Hawaii. It was amazing. So we did, I'll just throw up a couple pictures. We had a lot of fun. Chatmaster C was in a timeout in the Indominus Rex paddock from Jurassic World. They have the structure where they filmed it is still there. We got to go through and see that. So she got put in a timeout. It was great. She meant to wear her Chatmaster C t-shirt. She forgot. So that's why she got put in a timeout. So, and then we did some parasailing. We did all sorts of stuff. And you don't like that, Patrick?
No, I don't like that.
Why wouldn't
I'm
you do
very
it? It was
risk-averse.
amazing. Oh
Very
man,
risk-averse.
that was so fun. It was so fun. And you
Happy
could
for
see
you.
everything up there, and it was so chill. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was a great way to end that event of what we were doing, because before that we were getting tossed in the water, and it was Crystal's arms were like jelly. She couldn't hold on anymore. It was great. It was great. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Cool.
All right. Trying to get back into so on the parasailing, Crystal said she paid the guy to drag me across the water. We were coming down, Kennedy was with me, and I told her, I was like, we're going in the water, and she's like, no, we're not. I'm like, yeah, we're going in the water. Like, we were coming down. And then all of a sudden, once we landed in the water, like the dude yanked and like we got pulled in the water. And Crystal paid the guy to do that. It was fun though. It was just like getting splashed. It wasn't bad, but it was great. All right, we are back in it. So welcome everyone. Shout out to members of Gynacube. Thank you so much for helping to continue to support what we do here. It's very much appreciated. You can check out the link to learn more about it. No commitment required. If you see folks with like a green name tag or they've got the Gynacube logo next to their name, those are the members of Gynacube. So it's just very much appreciated to that. Of note, the second half of the stream we'll be doing a members only chat. Everyone can still watch, but only members and moderators can participate in the chat. Super chats always take priority no matter what part of the stream. So call out for that. So if you are new to Gynacube or just a live stream in general, put hashtag new in the chat. I'd love to see all the new faces that are with us this beautiful morning. I say that, but I think it's raining outside. I can't see outside.
It's actually beautiful and sunny here. It's sunny and beautiful.
That's new.
Gonna spend the day outside today.
No, nice. I don't like doing
It's
that.
72 degrees right now. It's 72 degrees right now.
I have no idea what temperature it is outside.
Really nice.
Oh, Fernando said it was 59 degrees in Mexico right now.
Oh, nice.
That's
Lots
chilly.
of new people today.
Yeah, Martin, Nahid, Brian,
Wow.
Opeth, new. Rakil, Siva, Vinod, Nikit. Amazing.
Wow.
All right, so questions. So Red Solo Cup. Love that song.
Only Chris would catch that. Only Chris would.
Yeah, I was saying in the chat, like right as we went to the timeout, you like spilled your coffee or something. It like went all over you. You had to change your shirt.
All of it. I have a Yeti that I drink my coffee out of that keeps the coffee hot.
Find it.
And I lost it. I have no idea. I have contractors at the house, and so I had to settle for this thing. And believe it or not, I got this at a Sequel Saturday, and it used to say like Sequel Saturday, wherever I got it from. But
they gave you a red Solo Cup?
well, they did. It's a coffee, a red
It's
Solo.
it's not
coffee
a
cup.
real red Solo Cup. It's
No.
okay.
It's a coffee cup.
I was gonna say that's a pretty inexpensive like speaker gift at a
No, it's pretty cool. It's
like
pretty
red
cool.
Solo Cup.
It's pretty cool. But only Chris Wagner. Chris Wagner.
I love it. All right. So questions. Get your questions queued up. Please put Q : in front of it. Chatmaster C is standing by to get those queued up. You only need to do it once, and then it gets queued up. Please do not spam your question. You will get put in a timeout. We have a 3 strikes rule here on Gynacube. So please don't spam. The moderators are standing by as well. They have the power to put you in a timeout in addition to Chatmaster C. So the moderators are the folks with the blue names with the little gear next to them, so they can get control of the chat if necessary. Sometimes it happens. Usually when Patrick's here, that's when the chat gets a little rowdy. Patrick brings the rowdy folks. So, all right. I love that. Avenger Nerd Dad.
Average nerd dad.
Yeah, I know. I always call him Avenger, though. That's my thing.
I know you do.
Yes. All right. So, are you ready, Patrick? You ready to get back into this? Oh, wow. There's not a lot of questions. Ooh. Oh, get your questions in. The queue is light today. Evan's got 3 in there out of 1, 2, 3. There's 7. No, there's 6 in the queue. I can't count today, and 3 of those are Evan. Evan, you may get multiple questions answered today. And Matthias, where are you? There's no question from you. Ooh, someone got a timeout. Look at that. All right.
Yes, they do.
Start off the stream right. Start it off with a timeout. Here we go. All right.
Will's got a great question.
Will's got a great question.
Will Thompson. Yes, he's got a great question.
We already answered that, though. Will, where is it? Why am I not seeing it? How was the vacation? Yeah, it was wonderful. I already showed the pictures. So we had a great time.
Vacation is great.
Everyone
Vacation's
had a
great.
great time. Yeah. Hawaii is amazing. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Hawaii, I recommend it. It's very much very much just beautiful, like everything you see in movies and TV. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Beaches everywhere. Oh my gosh, so many beaches. All right, and Hamza, wow, super chat starting off. Thank you so much. With a question, We have a rate table linked to a transaction table. So I'm assuming there's a relationship there on the item level. And we want to flag all transaction amounts greater than 300. I think that's the
3,000.
3,000. 3,000. Is that euros or
I don't know that.
pounds?
number,
I don't know
but
what
it's
that
okay.
currency is. In local dollars, we have monthly rate. What do you mean you have monthly rate? Flag all
For currency conversion.
Yeah.
But if it's just some currency conversion that you want to do, use calculation groups. And Alberto, I think Alberto has a great video on how you do all the
he did a video not
currency
too long
conversion.
ago of currency
Yeah.
conversion.
It's euro. Thomas
Hey
says it's
Alex.
euros.
Hey Alex.
Yeah.
You dropped the
There's a
link to
great-
Alberto's video on currency conversions.
But you
So
definitely want to use calc groups for that.
yes.
Yeah. You definitely want to use calculation groups.
Calculation groups. And thank you for the super chat. Also, just a reminder, members, hold your questions. We'll get those on the second half. Chatmaster C will let you know when to put those in. So hold those questions. Get ready to resubmit them.
Yeah, that's the article right there. That's the one that
right.
Alex put in.
Yep,
So
yep.
Hamza,
Check that
Hamza,
out.
go, yeah, go look at that. It's great. It's a really good article. Yeah,
There you go.
definitely.
And there's a video, I believe. And then Kevin also commented, check out DAX patterns. So DAX patterns, I've got it down on the floor. I don't have it easily available. So check that out as well. Got a lot of information in there. But use calculation groups as part of that. So sweet. Good question.
Oh, but look, I like Chris Wagner's point on that. Start in one currency and then do the conversion because it's easy. Because if you have multiple currencies, it can be a challenge.
That's going to be a mess.
That's
gonna be a mess.
Great point, Chris. Great point, Chris.
Good. Nice. Look at that. Everyone coming together on that one. Love it.
That was a good question though. That's a good question.
Yeah. All right, Evan, you got 3 questions. I'm gonna pick one of them. They're all good. So let me do this one. So would it be possible to set up incremental refresh on blob storage data? I've got gigabytes of zip files and blobs that I want to analyze, but it's so slow.
Chris Webb. Hang on. Cross join. I think that's Chris's blog, right?
Cross train. That was cross train.
Whatever it is. It's cross join. Blog, cross join.
Okay.
Something like that.
I can never remember.
He's got a blog. Chris has got a blog post on doing it with folders, but then I think it's Gil Revive or someone actually started it. So Chris builds on Gil's blog post, something like that, where they show you how you can do it with folders. And so you can adopt the exact same pattern that they do. I need to do a video on this. I really need to do it. It's on my whiteboard right there. But every time I talk about doing it, Adam says no one's going to watch this video. But
no one watched my incremental refresh video, and we called that one. So some people, Donald watched it.
I think
not many
Evan
people
will
watched
watch
it,
this
though.
video. I think Evan will watch this video.
You know what got less views?
Absolutely.
You know what got less views than my incremental refresh video?
Which one?
My log analytics video.
Now, I am surprised, and I got to say this. Evan, we'll come back to your question a little bit. That Python video is
Python video. Oh my gosh! Man,
I know, right? It's bananas. It's bananas.
I would not guess that.
Here we go. So here we go. Formu. Alex posted, and so he also had one on using folders. So so you can start with that. But Chris Webb has one, and I think it's Gil Revive that has one. They show you how to use folders, and you can adopt the same pattern, Evan, on how to do that. And Christian Prifity, thank you. 5 people. He knows 5 people that watched the Python video. I think he's talking about the Python video, but Python is the new coolness. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. All right. Vasudev. How to trigger full refresh when incremental refresh is already set up. And can can we trigger it automatically on scheduled time? So XMLA endpoint, you can trigger the full refresh that way. There's a couple things that will trigger the full refresh. So today, like if you republish your data set, that's going to trigger a full refresh. If you you could also do it from an XMLA endpoint to trigger that if you've got premium. If you're not using premium, your only real option to do that is republish the data set. The schedule refresh will not trigger the full refresh. It'll only trigger the incremental piece of it. So yeah. Now on the data flows piece, because that was part of the video I did where I showed how you could do this on both data flows and data sets. So data flows, there you have to like make a modification. So there is a way to do it, but you've essentially got to like redefine, and then that will cause it to re-trigger. So there's not a way to automatically force it on either end. So, yep. So, what was that? Oh,
that question.
Look at that! Look at that! There was 100 plus on Toomey's comments saying, "Patrick, do more paginated report videos."
Got one coming up. Adam loves them. Got one coming up to me. Got one coming up.
Yeah. All right, Alex. Thank you for dropping the link there. You are on point today, Alex. You are on point. All right. Let's do DVL. DVL. We are using Power BI embedded licenses. So I'm assuming you've got the embedded SKU on the Azure side. Is it possible to refresh dataset every 5 minutes? We are importing data in datasets. So
can we step back a little bit though?
Oh, I always like stepping back. I love stepping back.
Okay. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, well, no, but you were going to step back. I was only stepping forward. So.
I want to step back because every 5 minutes, right? That is a lot. How big is the data set? Will it refresh in 5 minutes? That's the first thing I think about when I see 5 minutes.
How often is your data getting refreshed on the data set too, on the backend data source?
Yeah. So is it really updating that fast? Is it necessarily updated every 5 minutes? And can it refresh in 5 minutes? Because if I schedule it to refresh and it's still refreshing when the next refresh comes along, not really going to happen. So that's the first thing I think about when you ask that. Yeah. And that's what I would try to solve before I even. Yeah,
I always remember the one customer I was talking to, and they're like, "Oh, wait, same thing. Can we get it to refresh every 5 minutes?" And I asked them, "How long does the refresh actually take?" "Oh, it takes about a half hour."
Yeah. I'm
like, well, then why would you can't even do it every 5 minutes? It's still running the last one. So what the heck? So you can technically you can trigger a refresh every 5 minutes using the refresh API. Or if you just, sit there and manually hit the refresh button in the UI, every 5 minutes, you can do that. Schedule refresh only allows on every half hour from an embedded or premium perspective. So you can't do it from a schedule refresh perspective, but the API would allow you to do that. And you can, if it's backed by embedded or premium, you can do that as many times as you want. But to Patrick's point, is that technically you can, but is that actually a viable solution for you? I don't know. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, that's a scary thing every 5 minutes. And then if you get to the point where yes, then maybe not the entire data set. Maybe you need incremental refresh. Maybe you need detect data changes, and I think Chris Wagner said partitions, so you need to look at doing it more elegant instead of trying to update the entire data set.
So Belinda made a point, I was thinking this in my head as well, of at what point do you start thinking about direct query as well? And does that data source support direct query? Would that be a better option for you? Obviously, there's pros and cons to going that road. And you need to weigh that out, but that may be something. Whenever I hear someone say real time or near real time, I start thinking, is direct query the better option there? So,
yeah, direct query.
Yeah, and then also power. Someone, who was that?
James Bartlett.
Yeah, James made the comment. Power Automate is the easiest way. I wasn't following the chat, so I don't know if that was related to this question, but Power Automate's another way you could trigger the refresh as well if you wanted to do something on that front. If you don't want to write code. Cool. All right. Yeah, we got a lot more questions now. All right. Scott. Best practices to avoid statistical disclosure on public Power BI reports. Don't publish them publicly? I mean, like if you're worried about exposing data on sorry, I know that was a smart aleck response. I apologize.
That was smart aleck.
Yeah,
Sorry, Scott.
sorry.
I apologize, Scott.
Yeah, I apologize.
apologize.
But I mean, if you're worried about exposing data on like a publish to web report, the best practice there would either be one, disable publish to web, so it's not out on a public website. With the recent changes that came, I think late last year, you can control who can actually do publish to web. So make sure you have a process in place to monitor and who can actually do that. And then you've got to track it from a governance perspective. So have those things in place. Honestly though, like if you're worried about that, I wouldn't even risk it. Like don't even do it.
I would not.
Yeah, you need to really be careful about that. It's very easy to expose that data. Power BI itself is not necessarily going to know. I think there are things. I'd have to go back. I haven't played with this, but like the MIP labeling, so the protection labeling. I don't know if that blocks publish to. I would think it would. So you may not even be able to do publish to web if the labeling is in place. So if you have a data set that has sensitive data, you could put the label on it. And I would test that, verify it. I haven't verified that personally, but I would hope that it wouldn't allow you to do publish to web. But David is saying, oh, it does not block. And Matthew said also it does not block publish to web. Oh, all right. Well, that's scary. So be aware of that.
Publish the web. Publish the
All
web.
right, labeling doesn't help you there, but so regardless, understand what you're doing with publish to web. Make sure you're monitoring that. The tenant settings allow you to control who can actually do the publish to web, and or if there is significant risk there, just don't do it. Turn it off. So, cool. I think that classifies as a best practice. Turn it off. Turn it off. Okay. Opithanate. I think I said that right. Is there a way to combine the data sets created from a scorecard to create a report with all scorecard data? Kind of a summary of scorecards. Composite models.
It's easy.
It's the only way I know of to do it. Would be the composite model feature. Yeah, where you can combine the different data sets. Just be careful about performance, and make sure you're testing that. And I would also ask, like, okay, how many of these are you thinking of, and also what's the goal of that overall scorecard? Like, what are you trying to do with it, and what's the question you're trying to answer?
Yeah. Do you need to combine them, or you just need to display them in one place? Because it was Alex.
Alex. Yeah.
Had a good point. If we're not trying to, there's the two Alex and Alex both posted some interesting things, because people don't use dashboards, and so if it's two reports that you create, you can pin items from multiple reports to a single dashboard if you don't need to combine the data sets, right? And then Alex, go ahead.
Well, so like he brought up the new Power BI goals. Like, is that an option to pull that together? However, that's a premium only feature, so if you don't have premium, that's not going to be an option for you. What else were you going to say there?
That's it. That's where you're going.
Yeah. And then Alex commented, like, the goals will create that data set that has all that data. So you could even do a further reporting on that based on the data set that was created for that goals scorecard. So that's pretty nice.
I mean, this live stream is easy because the people in the chat are just answering all the questions for us. So all you have to do is read what they say.
I love the community, man. Love the community. People are great. People are great.
Just read the answers.
Where were we? All right, that one's gone. Next. What are we doing on time? Oh, wow, this time's going by fast. Holy cow. Let's see. All right. Is it not good practice to add a slicer when you can filter straight from the visual? Filter straight from the visual, meaning slicing and dicing?
It depends. I think I know what he's asking. It depends or I think I know what the person's asking. Are you filtering multiple? Do you just need to filter that item individually? I just was talking to somebody about this, and they were like, "Well, I don't want to filter all the elements by this. I just need to filter this particular one, right?" So it depends on what you're trying to do, because if I put a slicer on the page, it's going to apply that filter to every visual on the page, which could affect the DAX that's generated. You know, but if it's just for that particular thing, then Chris Wagner is a RPI boss. Yes, he is. Yes, I agree. I don't disagree with that statement. But if you just need to filter an individual visual, go for it. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, so the thing is to think about is like whether it's slicers, filters, slicing and dicing on a visual. These are all tools that are available for you to use to help tell that data story. And so what works best enabling your report consumers to explore that data and understand that story. And so if slicers is the right option, then go with a slicer. If you prefer the other direction, and maybe it would require some additional user education because they may not be aware of that capability. So keep that in mind as well. It's like, are your end users going to even know that that's an option? I see that a lot where, like the drill through, we've had this conversation on like right click and drill through, and like people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was there. The new modern tooltips, I think, helps raise that awareness.
Oh,
but
yeah, baby. I like them.
Yeah. So.
But then you can control the interactions across the visuals also. There's that little edit interactions.
Yeah.
So, but again, that requires some user education too, because if
if you change that default behavior and they're used to the default behavior, they're like, wait, why is this broke? Like, you need to explain that. Yep. So also real quick, going back to your comment about like people in the chat are answering the questions. That's one of the things I love about this stream too in the community is that we don't get through all the questions, but a lot of folks in the chat are actually answering those questions that we didn't even get to. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. We got a couple more minutes here before we cut over. All right. So there's a question to Matthew. Matthew have answered this already. This question may be to Matthew as well. Can we save the files produced by Dataflow in the format of Parquet, not CSV? And can we keep the column names? Thanks. So I don't believe Dataflows today allows saving of that. It still does the CSV. There's not an option to save it in Parquet format today. I don't know actually if that's something that's coming down the road or not. I know I've heard that question before, and I'm sure Matthew already answered it in the chat. But so the answer today is no, you can't save it as Parquet. I believe you can consume Parquet, but it doesn't save it as Parquet. So, So Matthew also, Dataflows do not support saving Parquet. They keep saying it's planned, but still, that's why I was like, I remember hearing it, but like, I don't know when or like if that's ever gonna come. Yeah, that's one of those things. Like, it's like the shape map visual, right? It's been in preview for I don't know how long.
Oh boy!
And I don't know that it's ever coming out of preview, even though it's possibly the best map, in my opinion, that we have in Power BI.
Yeah, well, the Azure map is coming. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah. Any work on maps, I think, is great. Mapping capabilities. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Next. Where did it go? Oh no. Oh. Another timeout. It's 2 that I've seen. All right. Parag. Can you show some performance improvements? In DAX? Some nice videos showing how you can do performance optim. We've got a ton of videos talking about that.
There's tons of them.
There's a bunch of videos that we've done with performance optimizations. And then also SQL BI has got a bunch of stuff too. So yeah, we've done a lot there. Yeah. So anything that we're doing, like talking about DAX Studio, search for performance in our videos, you're going to see a ton of stuff there. That's probably the area that I know Patrick loves the most. So that's so we've already got a ton of videos out there that talk about that. Go check them out. Do a search. There's a search in YouTube on our channel that'll let you search for things.
But so does SQL BI though. They have
yes.
millions. Those guys are the expert. I mean,
does it look like there's interesting? All right, Sorav. I configured incremental refresh just the way you did in the video. When I publish the report in the service, the Power Query filter is still on. I'm only getting the filtered data. Any tips? I'd want to know how you filtered it. There was a step that was missed. So because if you define the range start, range end parameters, or if those are defined and you're using those, it hijacks, the system will hijack the range start, range end, and it will update those behind the scenes. That's part of incremental refresh. And so if that's not happening, then a step was missed. So, because that should absolutely be working, and or they were defined incorrectly, or they're being used the wrong way. So go back and verify that. What are you laughing at?
Oh, somebody said there's definitely tons of optimization videos.
Yeah, that's what I was like. That's like that's our jam.
Christian Profiti. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, Christian.
Yeah, Christian. Christian's a good guy. All right, let's get one more. Josie.
One more.
Do you have a video that works with the ARC? It's GIS, not HIS map, and its service. The answer there is no. So I know I've played with it a little bit. There was one or two customer engagements where
on that. I just did a really good demo on that.
Okay, write it down. Write it down.
My whiteboard's way over there, and it's blocked by.
I'll remind you.
Now.
I'm good at remembering that stuff.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Okay. PAB Beater says Kerbal has a couple of them. Yeah, PA Beater.
Awesome.
Says
Kerbal, and it sounds like Patrick's going to work on one. Alrighty.
I just did a good demo about driving ranges and stuff with ArcGIS. It was pretty cool.
Driving ranges? Oh. Was that the bird thing?
Within.
Was that the bird thing?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the bird.
That was the bird thing. Okay.
But I faked the data.
All right. All right. We are cutting over to members only. So this means only members and moderators will be able to participate in the chat. Chatmaster C has cleared the queue. So members, get your questions in. The super chats always take priority, and so non-members, you can still watch the stream and watch the chat, but you won't be able to actually participate in the chat. So thank you so much. Sorry if we didn't get to your questions. We tried to get to as many as possible. Hopefully the chat helped you out as well. All right, member only chat is, why didn't I see a thing? Normally it tells me. Is it member only now? I didn't see. Oh, there it goes. Sweet. That was a little delayed. All right. Also, one of the benefits of being a member is you can pre-submit questions. We have 2 today. So let's get those while the members get their questions in. First question from Dominic. Oh, actually, let me get rid of that. All right. Having several charts that show euro values, but aren't related and can't use small multiples. Is there a possibility to make a relation between 2 visuals so they have the same y-axis? Having a measure which calculates the maximum values of both and takes this as the basic value for both charts. What do you think, Patrick? What do you think?
And they're not related. They're not related, right? You're going to have to do some trickery with disconnected tables and DAX and sync slicers, probably. You could tinker with something like that to do it, but not to my knowledge. Yeah. Miss Belinda made a good point about a bridge table, but I think he said there's no way to relate them.
There's no relation between those at all.
There's no way to relate them. And so we'd have to trick it.
I will say, so in the email that Dominic sent, he did comment. He's like, look, I understand, changing the model is probably going to be your answer, but that wasn't the answer that he wanted. And I'm like, well, I mean, if they're not related, there's not a great way to do it. Anything you do there is going to be problematic and or very complex. So the easiest way to do that is to get a model in a way that they could be related, either with like disconnected table or something that can add some commonality between it. If that's not an option. So
I like PA Beater's comment though, or question. No relation, then why on the same graph? Because
Well, they're not on the same graph. They're not on the same graph. It's two different graphs.
But you want them to have this, but they need to have the same y-axis though. So, I mean, we're trying to establish some type of correlation or relationship.
Yes. You're trying to infer a relationship
why?
where a relationship does not exist. And
Yeah,
and you want that
yeah.
Power BI to magically be able to do that. I mean, you need to help it, right? You need to have some way to give it that relationship. And if you don't,
Will made a comment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
yeah. Well, Dominic added
Flat.
also. He said there is no relationship. The reason why I want to have the same y-axis is they both have euro values, and it's confusing having visuals on one page with different y-axes. I mean, the points we made are still there, right? If there's no relationship, then you're stuck. There has to be some way to relate those two to give them the same item. So you said Will had a comment. Oh, expression-driven
axis range.
Interesting. How do you?
Is that a new feature in
that
Power BI
new?
Desktop, Will?
That may be another video.
Are you hinting? Are
That
you
may
trying
be
to tell us something that we don't know?
Oh yeah, that might be. Yeah. Well, so because I know they're doing a lot of work on like adding expressions to certain things. So maybe he's asking if that would be a viable feature. Because I don't know of a way
Do you
to
want
do
to
that
come on the
today.
Guy in the Cube and talk about that, Will? Do you want to come on Guy in the Cube and talk
Johnny.
about this?
Will is trolling.
Will is trolling.
Oh, that's great. All right, and
Hinting.
SGT.
See, look what he said. Look what he said. Look what he said. Look what he said.
Yes, hinting being worked on. There you go. Bam. There you go, Dominic. So maybe this time next year you'll have something.
Oh.
No, I didn't mean it like that. Just
Wow. Next year.
that wasn't what I meant.
Wow.
No, like just meaning it's gonna like if we're hinting, it's being worked on. It's gonna take time to get out. So like it's not gonna be next month. Oh bother.
Wow.
Bother. No, yeah. Well, I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. Oh.
Wow. Wow.
I love what you do, Will. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. So Will, then Will. So for those of you that don't know Will, he's one of the PMs. He's one of the feature PMs on the desktop team. So he's the source of truth there. So, but he said, I get the scenario, no relations in the data, but the values are related because they're both currency values. Yeah.
Poof, body blow, Adam. This is what you did.
Sorry.
Finish him. Finish him.
All right. Cool. Next pre-submitted question. Let's move on. All right. Tom had a question. So say your fact table has multiple key dates, such as order date and ship date and delivery date. What's the best way to deal with that? A separate date table for each date, one date table with multiple inactive relationships, or something else? Whew. We get this question all the time. And I believe we done a video on it.
We did. We did.
I don't. Hey, Alex, if you can find that. PA Beater said it depends. Well, so the thing, and I'll show something. I've already got it set up on my machine, so I'll show that in a second. But I'm going to tell you that you're going to have to pay a cost somewhere of managing this. And so the question is, where do you want to pay that cost? And when I say cost, I mean like work effort in terms of setting this up. So let me go to my desktop real quick. And so what I've got here is I've got an inactive relationship on my ship date, right? So inactive on ship, and my active relationships on order date. So by default, everything's going to use order date. If I interact with, and I have one calendar table. And so everything's going to interact with that calendar table, is going to by default do it based off of the order date. But then what I've got is I've got a measure, total shipped sales amount, where, I'm using the total sales amount, but I'm changing the context to use the relationship of on the ship date. So I'm saying use that inactive relationship. So this total ship sales amount is going to be reflective of the ship date when I interact with that individual calendar table. So if I have a slicer, let's say I slice on the month of March, both measures are going to account in the right way. So now the other option that you have is you're going to have to do like set up. This is where like role-playing dimensions come into play. So you'll have to set up multiple tables and handle those relationships. But then when you want to slice on, say, March as the month, you're going to have to do something like sync slicers or handle that in a given way. So you're going to pay the cost somewhere. So where do you want to manage that? Do you want to manage it in a measure and have consistency? Do you want to do it from a slicer perspective and have your report authors know that they have to do that? So there might be some education that has to go on there as well. So it's my default approach that I go down is try to use one table with the inactive relationships if you can. I'm sure there's scenarios there where it's better to do the role-playing dimension piece, but some of it's based on your data. So
when they brought calc groups out, so
Johnny just mentioned
the way
that
we
too.
did it right there. Oh. Yeah. And then now you can do calc groups, but you got to be careful because some of your measures may be slightly different and things in calc groups. But calc groups can help with this, and I'm working on something to show this with some new features in Tableau Editor 3. I whispered it.
It's funny. All right, so good question. Gustavo, thank you for the super chat. Question, does Visual Studio 2022, will that support Power Query VSIX?
Let's search the interwebs.
I'm gonna say no. So Visual Studio 2022 is not out yet. So it's in preview, I think. I don't think it's been officially released yet. And typically those things like external items, if they do come, typically come a little after that. So my understanding right now is no.
It says... nothing specific about that.
Yeah, my understanding is no. And I don't have any timelines or any knowledge on if that will come. So, sorry. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. Into the queue we go. Fernando. The optimization of changing the data type of a date time column to date only gets wiped out with the restrictions of having date time data type for incremental refresh. Is the benefit worthwhile? There's trickery you can do.
There's trickery.
Actually, check out the video I just did on incremental refresh. I actually talk about that a little bit, where you don't need a date time to actually do it.
Yep.
So yes, the parameter needs to be a date time. So the range start, range end needs to be date time. But in the video I did, I actually used, there was an integer like date key. Like it was just an integer. And I used that. And then in the documentation, I point that out in the video, is there's a function from a Power Query perspective where you can convert that to the date time, take that integer and whatnot. So you can do whatever you want. The parameters though have to be a date time, and then you can convert that to just the date. You can do whatever you want from the Power Query side of it. You'll have to manually do that. So by default, like if you're just trying to wire it up by default, it has to be a date time. But if you're not afraid to, roll up your sleeves and play around a little bit with the query editor, then you can do some stuff.
Rolling up your sleeves?
That was me rolling up my sleeves. I was trying to harness my inner Patrick there. What? No? Yeah.
Your sleeves
Rolling
make
up
that sound.
that, or I'm
roll up.
ripping off my sleeves. Who knows?
You got some big arms, man. That's not the way sleeves work.
Matthew.
What is What did he say? Yeah, no, you don't know how sleeves work.
Yeah, Fernando. Have you ever actually wore an actual shirt? Oh, wow. Wow. Never heard sleeves make that sound. All right. Well, you know what? I was trying to have fun with it. Dang it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Try a PA beater. Try starching the shirt. Try starch shirt. They're very easy.
That was funny,
All right.
man.
Well,
That
I was
funny.
trying to, Patrick. You do that kind of stuff in videos, and I'm not. You're more natural at it than I am.
But I wouldn't go for my sleeves.
Next question. Moving on.
Hulk Hogan, you just 18-inch, 22-inch pythons. Okay, let's go.
All right, Kendall.
Let's go.
Do you know if there will be a way in the future to export data out of a table matrix containing subtotals?
Use the new paginated report visual.
Yes, that has an export option on it.
Has an export option on it. Stay tuned. Got a video coming, Kendall.
Yeah, that's the way you'd be able to do it today. So the default
Yep.
table and matrix visual in Power BI doesn't export that way. So yeah, unless oh my gosh, the chat is still going
As
off
your
on the
data
whole
sleeves.
sleeves thing.
As your data sleeves.
Oh my gosh. Azure data
Sleeves
sleeves.
for business.
What is that? Wow. It's like a whole thing. It's probably going to be a meme on Reddit now about Power BI sleeves and.
What that is about.
Oh my gosh. Dude. All right. So anyway, Kendall, sorry. The paginated report visual will allow you to export that stuff and keep those items. So that would be what I would look at.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, PA beater. Azure data sleeves. Gosh. So we see a lot about running totals. What about the other way? Calculate the incremental change.
Yeah, so if
didn't you do a video
let's
on
say
that?
January. I think I did. If
thought
I
you did.
didn't, that's a good idea though. If it's January, it's 100, and then February it's 115. I just want to see 15. I think that's what he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
No,
I
think I did
Maybe.
a video on that.
I thought you did a video recently
difficult.
on that.
Previous-
Because there was
the
something
previous
about where you
period.
were tracking, because you had to track, like, was there a change and then reset the value. So you're going based on what was going on. So that may not be exactly what is. So PA Beater said exactly to your comment.
Okay, all right. I'll make a note of it, PA. But I'm going to talk to. I'll talk to the Italians also, Marco and Alberto, because they may have something out there. If not, I'll do something on it. That's a good idea, though.
Cool. It's good. I like that. And that gives you something to actually like dig into. You were complaining about that.
Yes, it does. Yes,
Gives you
it
something to
does.
work
Thank
on.
you
Man,
so
they're
much.
still going off on the sleeve thing. Oh, gosh. Sleeves as a service.
I missed
Sass.
that one. Sass.
As opposed to pass, which is pants as a service.
Princesses. You'll rip those off too.
No, not that kind of show. Not that kind of show. Or maybe I did and you just can't see it. So, you know.
You can't see it. You can't see it.
All right, Miss Belinda. I do not think I've asked you guys this before, but a lot of people. What is your preferred method to test QEM performance? So formatting a phone number from a string of numbers. So like from a performance perspective, I like the Power Query diagnostics. Like that'll give you some timing info on how that runs inside of Power BI desktop, at least. The challenge with Power Query is like from the service side of it, it's hard to get those actual numbers. So you could look at the overall like refresh performance to maybe, it doesn't give you a specific though as to why that's doing it. I also like the visualize the refresh that Phil Seamark did, because that breaks down like the SQL versus processing, but again, it doesn't necessarily break down the Power Query piece of this.
Power Query part, the mashup engine.
Yeah. So now I do know the bring your own log analytics, the report that's part of that. When you dig into a refresh, it actually gives you even more detail there. Like there's some specific callouts there and what's going on during the refresh. I haven't dug into that all the way to know if it specifically calls out the mashup engine, but I want to say I recall seeing something there. So maybe check that out. But the Power Query diagnostics inside of Power BI Desktop, I think, especially if you're just trying to evaluate performance of one versus another, that's a good way to do it.
This is a good topic. This is something that somebody should bring back to like whoever owns Power Query at Microsoft and say, hey, we want to
like Miguel Lopez or
yeah, that's interesting. This is interesting. Yep.
Yeah. All right, good question, Belinda. Maybe that'd be a good video too. Like, how do you figure out Power Query performance? Yeah, be a good one.
Person I would start with is either Chris Webb or Alex, actually.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Oh, Alex called out Monkey Tools also. That's from the Excel side. So, yep.
It's interesting.
All right.
Interesting stuff today.
Yes. All right. Johnny's got a question. So I did a stream with Reed a while back on building a brand, and he asked, what was the book that I mentioned? It was called Primal. Oh my gosh. I'm blanking on the name. It was Primal.
He doesn't know. Johnny,
no,
he
it's
doesn't
Primal
know.
Branding.
He won't remember.
It's Primal Branding. Hang on.
Somebody already put it in the chat.
Did they? Okay. Yeah, it was Primal Branding. What? Like I did a search on Amazon for it and the book's not coming up.
Matthew said, I bet it was that Star Schema book.
Yeah. That's always not from a brand perspective, but yeah. Someone else there was a question on like Twitter I saw where someone threw out like, oh, Adam shows that book all the time. Like that's a
look, Miss Belinda even came back. Oh man,
it's always the Star Schema book. So and I don't have a Bible. I don't have a why is this not coming up on Amazon? That's weird. Yeah, by Patrick Hanlon. Wow. It's not coming up on Amazon. That's weird.
Your brand needs to be a dim, and that's a fact.
That's great. So anyway, Primal Branding by Patrick Hanlon is the book. It's not coming up. Just search for it. It's a good book.
God.
It's a good book.
Jeez. This has been a good one.
Oh my gosh, fun. Man. Everyone's on point today.
Matthew's on today though.
Yeah, Matthew's back. Matthew had a good vacation also, and he had some time to
on today.
Brand needs to be a dim. That's awesome. All right. Avenger Nerd Dad. Sorry, it's Average Nerd Dad. I just always call it that. Is there a way to rename a report but keep the report ID so that the URL doesn't change? Yes. No momento, por favor.
Uno, two.
Probably the extent of my Spanish that you will get from me. So here, let me go to my desktop real quick. So rename a report. So if I have a report, if you go to settings, actually, let's do this real so we can all verify. So here is my report ID. Last digit's DD13 right there. Right? So that's my report ID. I go back and I change the name, settings, just rename it. So we'll call it AdventureWorks 2. Come in. No, it's still there. DD13.
But he put a comment there.
He put a comment. The report GUID. It changes on me if you rename the PBIX file, the PBIX, yes, and republish that will generate a new report with a new GUID. You need to rename the report. And so what I'm doing is in the Power BI service. Once it's in place, you can rename it there. If you rename it in the Power BI desktop file itself and republish, it's a new entity and Power BI doesn't know what to do with it. It doesn't know that it's the same thing.
It's a whole new ball game. It's a whole new ball game at that point.
Yep. All right. Real quick, I need to go back and rename it. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. And then it's just going to be, where did AdventureWorks go? Oh, it's AdventureWorks 2. All right, that's changed. So, but yeah, if you rename it in the service, it'll be good. So Alex said just sync it from a OneDrive perspective. Alex, you're going to have the same problem there, though. Because if it's synced from a OneDrive perspective, you rename it in OneDrive, it's now a new file. And so you've broken that link. So that won't work. It's going to have the same issue. It's going to generate a new report. Actually, at that point, it won't pick up anything at that point. So your existing report won't change, and it won't automatically suck in the new one. That's my understanding of it. So you still need to, if you want to rename a report, you got to do it in the service. And or republish it and just relink things, but your GUID's going to change. So yeah, Alex, I would test that. My understanding is that I'd have to try it as well.
He said that's exactly what they were doing. Their stuff is stored in SharePoint. He said,
yep.
This is it.
If you rename the file, you've now broken, because all the service is going to do when you're linked to OneDrive is it's looking at the name of the file. That's how it knows that they're linked. And if you rename that file, now that link is broken and Power BI doesn't, you're no longer refreshing from OneDrive, you broke it. And then it's not going to automatically pick up that new file name, right? You'd have to republish it, which is going to give you a new GUID. So the only way to rename it is rename it in the service, or republish and deal with the new GUID. So, well, so Will says it uses the GUID, not the name, the GUID of the file in OneDrive. That would be interesting, but I don't think it's actually. If it does, like if you rename it, like I thought it broke it from a OneDrive perspective. So definitely something to test. But you know, he's saying that that's what he did and it broke it. So. Stan, thank you for becoming a member. Much appreciated. There was also another. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I already did that. Cool. Excellent. All right.
I'll tell you what. I got to say this before we go to the next question. All these people that we've met on the chat, right? I don't know these people besides knowing them on the chat. I cannot wait to meet some of these people in person.
Oh,
I cannot wait.
Oh, yeah. I will also say, going to Hawaii, man, travel is back, man. Like the airport going there was empty, but coming back, and I don't know if it's because of the 4th of July weekend in the US, but man, that airport was packed. There was it was like almost shoulder to shoulder. It was crazy.
If you are leaving the country, get global entry. If you do not have global entry,
global entry and TSA pre-check if you're just locally.
Without leaving, without getting global entry. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you that.
Yep. And then global entry in the US also gives you pre-check.
All right. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. You need to prepare yourselves for all of this.
Yeah, that is true. It is an experience. And then Stan, is it true that Power BI can get you bald? Yes, that is a true statement. I can only go on, what's happened to me and Patrick. So.
Okay, so go to Average Nerd Dag's comment. I'm sorry, I know we have questions, but he asked a really good question. It's a great question.
On that note, what's the next event you're all going to? We're going to...
Go ahead, Adam.
We're going to Branson, Missouri in August for the North American Collab Summit. It's like August 11th and 12th in Branson, Missouri. So excited. I actually am excited. It's going to be a small event. Like, they're only accepting 200 people in person. But August 11th and 12th, Branson, Missouri, North American Collab Summit. I twisted Patrick's arm to go as well. But that's where we're going. We're going to be going somewhere in October as well. We've submitted to Data Mines Connect and we were accepted in Belgium in October. So I'm hoping that works out, but there is now a potential conflict that Patrick's trying to figure out.
Look at this. Look what Average Nerd Dad said.
Wow. Nice. All right, we'll see you. We'll see you in Branson.
Now I'm excited.
All right, I'm excited. So Average Nerd Dad, you're gonna have to tell us, right? Because we're not gonna know who you are. Because Average Nerd Dad is not your real name, I'm assuming. If it is, that's awesome.
Now I'm excited. Yes.
Please wear an Avenger shirt if you can. All right. Vegas has nothing on Branson. True. Yes. Yeah, and Johnny said he's going to Copenhagen in September. I know there's an event in September in Copenhagen. We didn't submit to that. It was like between that and data mines, and we picked data mines. I don't know if Benny's in the chat,
Yeah.
but Patrick's trying to figure some things out there.
Keep us going. I'm trying to keep us going to Belgium.
Yep. Want to go to Belgium. Love Belgium. All right. Michael. Do you have a rule of thumb for the maximum complexity of a data model, max dims and facts regarding maintainability, RLS? Performance is the key there, right? And maintainability. So rule of thumb is what can you easily work with, and is it performing the way you want it to perform?
But when I'm developing a data model, I actually go talk to the people that's going to use it.
What?
And that's going to, I do.
What kind of an answer is
Teams
that?
Or I use a phone to call them or something like that.
Is it the bat phone?
And I go, hey, what questions are we trying to answer? What are we trying to do? And then that's going to lead to how that data model, the structure of that data model, so I can satisfy those responses. And if someone else comes along and that data model can answer those questions, they use that data model. If somebody else comes along and it can't, we see, does it belong in that data model, or are we creating a new data model? So, complexity, RLS, and all those things are determined by the requirements of what we're trying to do. It's hard to say I have a rule of thumb on how complex the RLS and the model and things like that. It's more about the user requirements, that I'm trying to satisfy.
Yeah.
I
So
know it depends.
Yeah, Will said I think 16,000 objects is the technical limit in analysis services.
No.
That's a lot.
No. That's a lot. That's a lot. No. No, Will.
Yeah. So yeah, just be mindful of that. So going back to the community thing, Fernando said community summit in Houston. Yes, that's the one that just came on our radar, and may be forced on Patrick. We're trying to figure the details out for that. So it's between community summit in Houston and data mines. Our preference is data mines right now. We may be told to do the community summit in Houston instead, which isn't as spectacular for me because I live in Houston. So I'm like, I want to travel.
And I grew up in Houston.
And then PA Beater said, need to do something in Georgia. I'm like, well, Patrick lives in Georgia, so.
I'm actually working on something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. All right. So we are at time. So that went by fast. It was fast. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. So, any closing thoughts, Patrick?
No, it's great to be back. Good to see you, Adam. I will see you soon, my friend.
In August, yes, Branson, Missouri.
Yeah, in
Branson,
August.
Missouri.
Yeah, Branson, Missouri. Yeah,
all right, everyone. Thanks for being with us this Saturday. We'll be back next Saturday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Looking forward to everything, and then just have a great week.
Yep.